Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and happy Friday! Welcome to another episode of Found Footage Fridays with my co-host Tom Reimer.
Happy to be here. Friday, best day of the week.
Best day of the
Found
week.
Footage Fridays. Let's go.
Yeah, what more could you need, right? On a Friday?
Nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so we are actually talking about one, finally, that we've talked about a lot, but have never done an actual review on.
Yes. It's on pretty much every top 10 list of found footage movies. This is not an obscure movie that we're talking about today.
No. In fact, I'm 95% sure if you go back and watch our intro to Found Footage Fridays, I'm pretty sure this one was on my list.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I think it was
on a lot of people's list. Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie we were talking about today is the 2014 found footage film As Above, So Below.
Got it. We both got it that time.
I was like, I keep reminding myself it's on the side of the window.
Yeah, there you go.
Point to the windows.
The system.
Yes. Just hopefully to help me out a little bit. When a team of explorers venture into the catacombs that lie beneath the streets of Paris, they uncover the dark secret that lies within the city of the dead.
How would you classify this? Using our system of found footage classification, where would you? Because I struggle to label this one.
Yeah, because it's part like a adventure exploration kind of thing.
Yep.
I wouldn't really categorize it as like a haunted place. I feel like it's
not that
more than that.
Tourism found footage. No, is that we haven't used that one yet.
Yeah, because it's definitely got some. This is another one that has quite a bit of layers as far as because it's got the adventure side of it, the kind of national treasure pieces.
Yep.
It's got obviously some supernatural, but also maybe some multi-dimensional things. It's got some cult things.
Yep. A lot of stuff. A lot going on here.
Yeah, everything but the kitchen sink found footage.
Yeah.
I guess
it's a hard one to define. Yeah,
it is. It is. Yeah. So, yeah, I love this movie. This is one of my favorites.
Why specifically this one? Why does this one for you stand out as opposed to a lot of the movies we've talked about?
I think probably because, so we've had movies we've talked about that have a lot going on and it ruins it because it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this one it's almost like 3 sections, like it's divided into 3 sections. So you've got the beginning, which is got, the exploration kind of side of it. We get some spooky stuff, but mostly just the setup for our story of why we're going into the catacombs, our character introductions, which are really, really well done. And then the middle section is this, when everything kind of shifts without giving too much away, it's very almost haunting-esque, most of it. And then the third act is very when you get the cult stuff, the weird little bit of cult energy, I don't know, this mysteries of the past kind of stuff. It's got a lot of stuff, but the way that they stage it and the chemistry of the people that are in this film and how real they felt makes all of those random pieces super cohesive in a way that I don't think is really typical for this subgenre of horror.
No. And there's a lot about this movie that's just so well done, which you wouldn't say for all found footage movies that we talk about or see.
Yes.
It's not necessarily a staple of all found footage movies, but this is high quality, bordering on sort of mainstream horror.
Yeah.
And it has that feel.
It does.
It has the feel of maybe, dare I say, a bigger budget found footage movie, which sometimes is a negative or could be perceived as a negative when we talk about found footage. But I think in the case of this movie, it does work. But it does feel like it's not surprising to see this movie on some of the major streaming services. Like, it's that good. And I actually, I don't know this off the top of my head, but I can imagine this movie at least being in a movie theater. I don't know that it was, but like, it's that, I would say that level, at that level.
I think this was a very normal level of found footage film. And then, because I don't know that it got a theatrical release. I don't think it did. And then I think people just started discovering it. And so now it's a lot more popular. But I do think, I feel like I looked at the budget and I cannot remember off the top of my head what it was, but it is a little higher than what you would expect, because this isn't one where you've never seen anybody before. One of our main guys is in several things.
He looked very familiar to me. Yeah.
Yes. He's been in several things. And the girl, the main girl, if you look her up, she's been in quite a few things. Nothing I knew or recognized, but she's been in quite a bit of other things as well. So this isn't one of those like their name, is their character name, or, nothing like that.
This isn't one where one person and their brother filmed the entire movie. It's clearly like it had to have been a larger production to produce this movie.
Yeah, no, it totally was. But I just think that the way it was executed was really, and I'm like, anything that's going to have like background and like lore and stories, and that part was super appealing to me.
The setting was really unique, and that they were able to use what at least appeared to be like potentially real catacombs and the underground.
At least the beginning of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to go wrong when that is the setting or the backdrop for the story. It just was like already kind of freaky right at the beginning, right off the bat.
Yeah, the catacombs is like what do you call it? Like a bucket list item.
Yeah,
like I would love to go to the catacombs. Like,
so you're not claustrophobic then?
I am, but you can't go that far in. Okay. So I have a friend that went, I don't know, maybe over a year ago. And he, like, you can go into the beginning and the openings, but it's very restricted because it's dangerous. It's like super dangerous because it's not, they literally built city over this stuff. So I think that I would just, take like a de-stress vitamin and like go, because I think it would be worth it. But the catacombs is not only like super sad, like such a sad story, but it's so like haunting, like the way the walls made of skeleton skulls and skeleton pieces, and just, it's literally like the perfect setting for something like this.
So this is one that like we talk about, like, for at least for me, and I think for you too, like how scary a movie is really important to like what we're gonna rate it as. So like, I'll just, before we even say what our ratings are, I'll say like, I thought this movie is pretty scary.
I second that and every time I watch it, it scares me. Yeah.
So if that's what you're looking for, I can already say this is a movie you'll want to check out.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
You do your rating first.
Okay. This is easy. I already know my rating for this one.
Okay.
So I love this movie. Huge fan of it. Top found footage film for me, of course. So I would give As Above, So Below a 10 out of 10. I think it's a perfect found footage movie. I have literally zero complaints about this film.
How many movies that we've discussed have you given 10 out of 10? 3? 0? Not even one?
Oh, Blair Witch. I'm sorry. When we did our episode with Matt, I gave the Blair Witch, but I feel like that's like on its own, But otherwise, the closest I've ever given is a 9, and I've only given 2 of those.
I thought you recently gave a 9, right? I feel like you did. What was it?
Or I'm sorry, I've done 3 9s. I did the Borderlands, Final Prayer,
Final
Savage
Prayer.
Land, and the second Horror in the High Desert.
Sounds right.
Those were my 9s. I'm fairly confident. Yep.
I am going to give this movie a 9.
That's your highest rating other than Blair Witch, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I've done a 10. I mean, other than Blair Witch, nothing's gotten a 10. So for me, I don't think
anything's gotten a 9 from you. Not that I can remember. 8.5. If you've done a few of those.
I feel like I've done it. Maybe I feel like I've done a 9 somewhere in there, but
maybe we agreed on Horror in the High Desert too.
I think maybe we did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 9 on this. Solid,
nice.
Like very. This is a scary movie. This is one. Gives me the chills. Like even just like picturing it. I will say, part of my like actual uncomfortable feeling with this movie, which is a good thing, is due because I don't know that I would like classify myself necessarily as claustrophobic, but like this movie makes me feel claustrophobic. Like this movie makes me afraid of tight spaces. And like there's some particularly uncomfortable scenes in this movie that even thinking about now, like they're just so well done. So that's where I think partially the setting, the backdrop, as we said, for this, sort of the lore behind it, the believability, with, I mean, I assume with places like this that exist in the world, that there are people that sneak down there when they're not supposed to.
They do
to be down there, right? So,
yeah.
Without me doing a lot of research on that, I assume that's a pretty reasonable thing that actually happens. So,
yeah,
it was believable, like right off the bat in that, in that way.
Yeah.
And aside from that one actor that I thought was recognizable, they were all really good, and nobody else like stood out to me.
No.
As being like
really,
because that for me is sort of a no with found footage. Like I don't want to know any of the faces typically, personally.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah.
I think so. For me, the only reason it didn't bother me is because he's still an indie actor. Like he hasn't been in like, I mean, he was the biggest thing he was in was the show where the girl died and she like was she went into somebody else's body and he was like the character he played, I'm drawing a total blank on the name, but he played like the best friend that was like also, he was like an angel or guardian angel or something. I can't remember what the name of the stupid show is, but he was in that. That's the biggest thing I ever saw him in. Now, I think if we saw a movie and it was a found footage movie and it had like, I don't know, Bruce Willis in it, that'd be like a totally
Harrison Ford.
Or Harrison Ford.
Meryl Streep.
I think that would be harder for me, but I think because he still isn't like super, 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 super popular and into just like everything, I think I was able to just kind of ignore it, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's spoil this thing.
Okay. Do you know where you want to start?
No, I don't know. So, I mean, I've already talked about, I guess, like every moment they're down in the catacombs, it's just, it gives me a similar feeling like I don't know if this makes sense, but like watching like Jaws. I don't know why I feel like that. It's just on the edge at all times. Like it's dark. It's really dark. The whole movie.
Yes.
Some of the camera angles, like where they're squeezing through, some of those ridiculous places are like when that guy is crawling through the pile of bones or whatever.
He gets stuck for a minute.
He gets stuck like that. That scene is like when I like think about this movie, that scene in particular, like, ooh.
And it's crazy because I feel like it has like so many things. So like, okay, you've got the claustrophobic stuff. You've got fear, like the dark. You've got There's underwater scenes where they have to hold their breath and go underwater to get to the next, cavern on the other side. There's a fire death. Like there's like, or I guess it's sort of a death, but you know what I mean? But it's, and then you've got like, there's others down here that could hurt us. Like there's literally like everything you could be afraid of happening is in this movie. Like,
what's your interpretation of that? Like with the fire thing and the guy sees himself in the car and like what is going on? Why are all these things happening?
Okay, so it's not himself in the car. You remember at the beginning of the movie, there's that random guy sitting at the beginning of Okay, and he tells them who to look for.
Yeah.
Okay, so my interpretation is that guy died in a car accident. Because of the other guy.
And so how is he in a car burning?
I think because, so this is when, to me, this is when you start getting into like dimensions and portals and things like that, right? Because when this is also different in the found footage sense because the footage isn't found, they get out.
Right.
And the way that they get out is by going further down. And then it's like they come out upside down. So it's like, and I think this is another one that you could, literally the way this is interpreted is just going to depend on the viewer, I think. But my interpretation after the numerous times, I've probably seen this movie 10 times. My interpretation is they are now on the other side because that's the entire meaning of the movie. As above, so below. We get these big things with the Philosopher's Stone is like, as it is here, it is here, and they kind of go through this journey of like, duplicating what's here is also here, and it's this common theme throughout the movie. So my interpretation is when they come out on the other side, they're on the other side of this existence or however you want to frame that. But like, so and then like this whole thing about like, because when that guy dies in that car, when he goes up to the car that's on fire and it just like sucks him up into nothing.
Yep.
That was when I started thinking like weird energy portal or weird, like, because they all face things that they're afraid of, bad things they've done or bad things that have happened to them. With her, it's her dad. With the guy that we're talking about that's been in a bunch of other stuff, it's his little brother drowning. That one guy, it was the car, the cameraman. So his is the only one I don't really know how to break down because he falls, but the things that he sees are related to like a baby.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what did he do? Did he like, I'm not 100% sure about his, but that's kind of where I went with it, was the layers of like, the guy used them to bring the, I forget the guy's name. It's like Fabian or something like that. The guy that's, they're like tour, he's like their guide or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like it's like, these are all the things that you went through already that are all bad. And they come out on the other side. I don't know. It's a lot, I think.
So they weren't like going through hell.
They could be. That's totally a reasonable thought process.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's at least the first time I watched this, that's where my brain went, but I don't know.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie, it's just so well. I'm picturing watching this movie like on a big screen. Like, even though this probably wasn't in theaters, as as we talk it out.
Yeah.
I feel like this would have been one that would have been perfect for a mainstream audience and on a big screen. Like, people would have loved this in that setting. It's a shame it didn't get that sort of a release.
It probably has to do with the time frame it came out. 2014.
14. Why? Why do you say that?
Well, just because like we went through after Paranormal Activity, there weren't like a ton of in theater
Yeah.
footage movies.
Oh, there are now. There
are now.
Yeah.
But it was very few and far between, and I think it was just a really hard sell for whatever reason. And that probably had something to do with it.
There aren't a lot of found footage movies also that I feel like where this movie took place, even like it just being in Europe, there aren't that many. There's a few. There's I think Affliction, is that one? Is that like Afflicted? Is that what it's called? That sort of has like a similar feel.
One of the other.
People.
I love that one, but yes.
Tourists in a place they're unfamiliar with. Although the people in this movie we're talking about are sort of like experts, and they know the area a lot more. I'm not shocked that this one is like so high on everyone's list. Where is it watchable right now?
Right now it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Okay.
I'm going to assume it's probably on Tubi and stuff too, but I see it because my TV knows that I watch a lot of found footage, and I have a comfort show that I watch on Hulu a lot. And whenever I go to Hulu, it's like one of the first banners I see right now.
I've seen it somewhere else. I mean, I know I watched it, and I have not watched it on Hulu. So somewhere it was at least.
And I'm just saying Tubi because I feel like everything is on Tubi.
It's really quick. Is it like 90% of Tubi now is found footage movies?
I swear. Honestly, you know what? It feels like it is.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to tell you really quick. I think like where to watch. Oh. I guess it has changed maybe since the 1st of May. You cannot stream it right now. You have to rent it.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it doesn't have it listed anywhere to stream right now.
Find this one.
I swear I just saw it on Hulu, but I guess I didn't. Unless Google's telling me lies. But yeah, this was I think so. So the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
And these references to alchemy. My first introduction to the Philosopher's Stone and alchemy was an anime called The Full Metal Alchemist, which is like my favorite anime of all time. And it's an entire show about alchemy, the ancient science of alchemy, right? And the Philosopher's Stone. So I remember watching this on a first watch, and the moment she said Philosopher's Stone, I was like, "Ooh!" Like I am in. I was so excited. And I thought, just the stuff they were able to create, the big statues, the carvings, oh man, it's a stunning movie.
I think that's what I mean when I say like this feels a little bit different than some other found footage movies.
More. Yeah. Or they were able to do.
They were able to do a lot more. Like it had to have been a big budget. It's just too, the scale of it is too big. If I had to nitpick one negative about this movie is that it doesn't have the person with the camera feel as much. Even though it is someone carrying a camera, that's not what I mean. Like it doesn't have the found footage feel to it. It doesn't have it doesn't feel like this is a movie that would have been found in someone's basement and popped into the VHS player. Like this feels like more produced.
Yeah. So the budget was $5 million.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that's more than I was thinking even still though. I wasn't thinking it was gonna be that high.
I actually wonder how many found footage movies you can find that even come close to that. Not many. I mean, I'll guess a couple.
What about Cloverfield?
Cloverfield. That's sort of like the one that I think of actually the closest as far as like production to this movie would be Cloverfield. I mean, I'm sure that's over $5 million. by a lot.
Probably, yeah. But $5 million, that's like
for this kind of a movie.
And I'm trying to think too, because like I said, that the only guy that I even recognize is the almost love interest. And
yeah.
I'm like, where did they get that from? like, I don't know how it works, but like $5 million to do a found footage movie, like.
I bet the VHS movies and I bet the Paranormal Activity movies probably come in there.
Yeah.
For different reasons, but just the bigger studios, they're probably at least hitting those numbers. But most of what you'd find on Tubi, not even close. Not even.
God, no.
Not in the universe. Yeah.
And what was not the cheapest? The most inexpensive one was
Bad Ben. I think Bad Ben.
Which was what? I don't remember.
It's like $300, $200, something like that.
It's quite the jump.
There was at least one other that was around that. It was pretty close.
Holes in the Sky was 700, I think.
Right, that was close. I mean, the Sussers were not even in the same stratosphere as this movie. So it's aside. Okay, take that away. What they did with that $5 million is make a really scary found footage-esque film. It is found footage. It definitely is found footage. It just doesn't have the sort of like small feel.
It's because it's so clean, right? Like it's so clean. It's obvious that there was money put into this, but it's still super believable. The acting and the chemistry was like bar none. Like I zero complaints there. The backstories, the lore, the set pieces. I mean, it's a beautiful movie. Like it's just, yeah.
Yeah, go watch this one. Like it's a fantastic. It's a film. I'd use that word for this movie.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, it's worth the $3 or $4 to rent, in my opinion.
Definitely
worth a night of just like hanging out or whatever and watching this, because it's this is, and to me, it also has super high rewatch value. I love it. I've caught numerous things in rewatches that I did not see originally.
Absolutely. I totally get that. Actually, this conversation makes me want to go rewatch it.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah, because we didn't rewatch before we talked about it because we know it pretty well. So,
but this has got to be one of our highest rated found footage films.
It's probably second only to the Blair Witch episode.
Probably. I think
which wasn't even treated the same. It was a completely different, type of video, but
we both liked Savage Land. We both liked the Horror in the High Desert movies, both of them. We both liked Incantation. We both liked Final Prayer. And then there's others that we liked, but I don't know that they were this well.
Okay. Definitely go see this movie if you have not seen it, or pay to see it. Rent it. It's worth it.
Go to your local video rental store. Get the VHS.
Yep.
Watch it now. Don't wait. It's a good one.
Agreed. Yeah, this is definitely our highest. Second only to the Blair Witch episode. Because even the ones that we've both really, really liked, a couple of them, at least one that I can think of off the top of my head, you still were lower than me, like as far as your rating.
And there have been others. There have been some that I liked more than you.
That were the other way around. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. We just I mean, and then sometimes we're on the same page. We do the same thing.
Like today. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So as above, so below.
Yep. You can rent it right now for like $4, and we both agree it's worth it.
Or you can go to your local library and rent it for free.
I forget about the library thing.
Everyone always forgets. Don't forget about your libraries.
That's so true. You can do that. You can go to the library and rent movies.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do it.
Okay.
What's up next week? We want them to tune in next Friday as well.
What the next week's is Area 407.
Cannot wait to talk about this.
Huh?
Can't wait.
Me either. It's on Tubi if you want to watch it to get ready for next week's conversation.
We'll see y'all then.
Yep. Have a good weekend. Great week coming up, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.